Hey there guys, welcome back to a brand new, let me turn down the audio here. It sounds like we're in a stadium. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Let's turn that down. Hey there guys, welcome back to a brand new Flick Pick live show where we can talk about whatever you guys want to talk about, but we do have a few quick questions here. And yes, I did see Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 a few days ago, and if you didn't see my first reaction over on Instagram, TikTok, or wherever the hell else I put that at, I really enjoyed the movie. For the first time in a very long time, Marvel made me feel something. And the biggest compliment I can give Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is it felt like it had a unique look, voice, and it didn't feel like regurgitated baby food put into a blender for easy mass consumption where everyone else on screen is just making really lame, terrible jokes where they stand in front of a green screen and then pretend to do things. Guardians of the Galaxy felt like a real movie, and I think it was a very fulfilling finale to the trilogy of Guardians of the Galaxy, so I highly recommend checking it out. The tones go a little bit dark at times, but that's what we need more of. I felt something when watching the movie. I felt sadness and despair, but on the other hand, at times I was laughing my ass off. So when you can bring both of those elements into a movie where you're like, oh, do I want to cry or do I want to laugh? I think a movie has done its job, and I got to give it to James Gunn. He did a hell of a job with Guardians 3, and I would say it's far, far better than his previous ensemble comic book movie, Suicide Squad, which came out a few years ago. Was not a big fan of that one, but yeah, he definitely gave a nice third installment to Guardians. So with all that said, let me dive into your questions, and thank you guys so much for joining me. Thanks for coming to look at my stupid face. I do appreciate it. And I'm wearing the Nicolas Cage glasses today because sometimes the lights just hurt my eyes, and I'm getting light sensitivity. Ever since I had COVID last week, it just, the slightest bright light just feels like rusty nails digging into my brain. So let me open up this bad boy, this caffeinated beverage. Not like I can taste it anyway, but here we go. Hold on to your butts. The first one comes from Aaron Nick. Hey John, I know working out isn't a huge focus for you anymore, but do you think we'll get any more in the gym videos or just fitness and general videos in the future? You are a big inspiration for me trying to reach my own fitness goals. Well, thanks for that. Yeah, I'm not opposed to doing more vloggy videos in the gym occasionally. And but really, it's just me finding the motivation to go back myself. I mean, I have not been to the gym in over 2 weeks. And now I did have COVID, so I do have a slight excuse. But really, I've just been finding myself doing other more productive physical activities. For example, ever since I hit the weird age of 36, I have found a weird cathartic titillating experience of doing lawn maintenance. Hear me out for a second. I have a riding lawnmower. I bought a new weed whacker, a leaf blower. I bought a hedge trimmer. Yes, I'm going crazy. And I find just doing yard work now is enjoyable. I never thought I would be saying that because as a kid, my stepfather used to make me pick up sticks in our huge yard, and I hated it. I resented him for it, and I hated it. And now I enjoy doing it. That's a weird, scary thing when you get older. Another thing I used to hate when I was younger was going to the hardware store. I remember every weekend, I'd go with my grandfather to Lowe's, Home Depot, Do It Best, whatever hardware store he wanted to go buy a new pair of pliers or a screwdriver or some random piece of lumber. And I remember walking into those places and hating them. But now I love it. I love to go look at the riding lawnmowers at Lowe's, and I sit on top of them like a throne. So with all that said, I will eventually do more gym videos, or occasionally do a gym video once I get back to the gym. Summertime is more motivating to me. It's warm outside. I'm not cold. I don't have to wear a jacket and a hoodie to go outside. I can wear shorts. So we'll do more. So I hope that answered your question, but we'll get back into it. Don't worry. The next one also comes from Aaron. John, what settings do you use for your microphone? Do you use any effects/noise suppression, or do you just plug and hit record? Man, I am a simple dude. I like to keep it simple. I don't want a whole bunch of extra things for my camera gear and my mic. I think if you can just plug it in, dialed in and leave it, that makes life so much simpler. So I use a Samson G-Track Pro mic. It's USB. Now, XLRs technically sound better when it comes to microphones, but I think this one sounds pretty damn good, and it is just plug and play. Now, it does have a few settings here on the back side of it, which you can just immediately touch. I can adjust the gain, the output, and a few other features, and that's why I specifically got this microphone. But yeah, I enjoy it. I don't do any extra effects for my mic stuff. I just let you guys hear my raw, unadulterated voice. And with all that said, my name is Morgan Freeman. All right, let's go to the next one here. Jack, how's it going, Jack? And Jack says, recently watched Point Break, Roadhouse, and Over the Top, all for the first time. Well, let's all give a round of applause to Jack. Yay! You just got your man card. And just by watching those movies, Jack, your testosterone level went up 83%, so enjoy that. Let's continue on with his question here. I enjoyed all of them and was hoping for more flick pick essentials like them. Also, what is the best theater you've been to? I'm trying to think of another movie that would be on par with something like Roadhouse, Over the Top, and Point Break. Ooh, let me think on it just for a second. Let me think of another tough, manly movie I really enjoy. Maybe not as tough, but watch The Warriors from the late 70s. It's a group of gang members just trying to get back to their home turf of Coney Island while wearing leather vests. That's how tough they are. But check that movie out. But the nicest theater I've ever been to, gosh, there is an AMC in Columbus, Ohio that's pretty nice. It's connected to a mall, and you go up these escalators to get to the theater, but it looks clean and nice. They have a nice IMAX theater that has reclining chairs in it. It always looked so well kept. That was one of the nicer theaters I've been to. I would say my local theaters are sort of falling apart. They kind of scare me. I'm like, can you guys put a little money into these? Because this is all we have in my town. One of my local theaters closed down, and the other one down the street from me, which is a AMC theater, is just, last time I went there, I told myself I would never come back to this heaping pile of shit again, because the screens looked dirty, the bulbs were flickering, half of the restrooms were closed, so when I was watching one movie, I had to walk to the entire other side of the theater to use the restroom, and then you walk in, 3 of the urinals are broken, the wall is caving in, it looks like there's a water leak that no one has cared to fix in 3 years. It just looks dilapidated. I just know I'm breathing in mold fungus. And my motto is, if you go to a movie theater and the restroom is falling apart, the floor smells like piss, do you trust eating the popcorn from the concession stand at such a place if they can't put any money into it? So yeah, I would say the AMC in Columbus was one of the nicer theaters I've been to. I've been to a couple of nice theaters. The ArcLight Theater in Los Angeles was pretty nice. So yeah, those are a few nice theaters I've been to. But my thing is with movie theaters, it just feels like some of them are nice, but a lot of them, it just feels like management is letting them go. And it begs the question, well, if this place is filthy and disgusting, why would I leave my house to give you money to watch a movie here when that same movie will be on streaming in 2 days? Give us a reason to go. I don't want to sit on a popcorn spill of butter. You know, I don't want my ass to be all buttery during a movie. Not to say I don't enjoy it every once in a while, but not out in public. All right, but thanks for the question, Jack. Buster Nuttington says, that's his stage name. And by the way, thanks for the generous super chat here. And by the way, guys, thanks for joining me once again. I did fix my Streamlabs link down below. If you don't have to do this, if you want to, it's up to you. YouTube and Google are greedy sons of bitches, so let's not give them 30% of your super chats. No, fuck them. You can use the Streamlabs link down below. It is the same thing, except you can customize all your little GIFs and whatnot if you use the link down below. You don't have to, but the option is there. Let's dive into the question from Buster. Hey John, been watching for 8 years or so. Your videos reignited my love for film, and now I'm in film school. Well, congratulations to you, man. Once my home state of California falls into the ocean, which state would you recommend? So I live in Indiana. Now, do I recommend you move to Indiana, especially if you're going to obtain a degree in film? No, I do not. I do not recommend such things. I like it here. I like the city I live in. Do I wish I had a few more options of things to do? Yeah, but overall it is a nice, safe place. The Midwest overall is an okay place, depending on where you live. For you, I don't know, man. It depends wherever film production is happening. I know Atlanta, Georgia is up and coming. There's a lot of film studios there, and it's an affordable place, more or less, and maybe that would be cool to try out. That is up to you, man. Also, I maybe really that's where I would try if I were you. I would look for somewhere affordable where there are opportunities, and maybe Atlanta, Georgia. Honestly, if you're getting a film degree, that might be a good place to try it out. Plus, the other thing is, when you live in a location besides Los Angeles, there's less competition, and maybe it's easier to get your foot in the door in such a place. So that's my quick recommendation to you. If you actually want to work in the film industry, and if you don't, if you just want to work at home, move wherever it is cheap to live. But is there such a place anymore? I don't know. I just want to live somewhere where the streets don't smell like urine. That's my motto. But thanks for the question, Buster. Shut Up Cat Productions. What's up, man? He says, how'd you like my short film, The Bounty? Thank you. I enjoyed The Bounty, the film that you made with your father 12 years ago. I think it was in 4:3 aspect ratio. And didn't you kill your father in the movie or something like that? It was, I would say there's Christopher Nolan, and then there's Shut Up Cat Productions short film he made for YouTube in 2012. Yes, I quite enjoyed it, man. James Dozier says, hey, John, how have you been and how was your weekend? Not too bad. This weekend, I did some weed whacking in the backyard. Big weekend. Yeah, not much going on this weekend, really. What is today? Is it Sunday? Yes. I don't remember what I did this weekend, to be honest with you. Thursday, I saw Guardians, and then the weekend, I blinked my eyes and it just went by. I was actually in my garage tinkering with I bought an air compressor because I was like, I have to fill up the air in my tires, so I need a compressor to do such. I need a tool to do this. So, not that big of a week. Nothing exciting. Actually, you know what? To keep it related to movies, I did watch some new movies this weekend. I wouldn't say new, but I watched them at home. Me and my girlfriend, we watched Avatar: The Way of Water last night. And I was holding out for the 4K. But, logically, you would think, okay, I'm a studio. We put this on streaming for a couple weeks. Then we put out the physical release. That way we can make more money. But no, there's no news announcement for a physical release of Avatar: The Way of Water, unless there was and I didn't see it. I was holding out. I tried. I really tried. But unfortunately, I had to give in. So we did watch Avatar: The Way of Water again. And I do have, after watching it for the third time, I do have some complaints. And I would say at times the screenplay of that movie is, I don't want to use the word dumb. I don't want to say dumb, but it's not that cleverly written. Especially the thing that I hate about that movie is in the first act, the Colonel, Stephen Lang's character, has become an avatar. And he's watching old vlog videos that the human version of him made. And there's one vlog that he made where he goes, well, if you're watching this right now, I don't know how I died, but I'd like to blame Jake Sully for such things. It's like, what a cringy, terrible line of dialogue, just setting up his hatred towards Jake Sully. But it's like, who would ever say that? It was just so terribly written. I don't know. I like me some James Cameron, but sometimes his dialogue just feels like it was written by a 14-year-old that doesn't quite understand real human interactions and conversations. So he dumbs it down to the point of it's almost insulting. Weird complaint, I know, but I'm going to stand by it. But I did enjoy looking at the movie. Once they get to the oceans, I'm just like, oh, yes, this feels good. Thank you. And that's what I rub my chest like this when I watch it. Don't ask why. But thanks for the question. Night King 01 says, John, I forgot how good Crimson Tide is. Also, Tony Scott has a more consistent filmography than his brother Ridley. Yes, but his brother Ridley has made far better films than Tony could ever hope to make. They both have very different styles. In my opinion, Tony Scott was sort of like the Michael Bay of the 1980s and early 90s. And what I mean by that is if you look at his filmography of films like something like Days of Thunder or Top Gun, they had this like very saturated, warm, simplistic, but entertaining vibe to his movies. And it always he always sort of reminded me of Michael Bay in a way. Take that how you will. And then he made like movies like, what was it? Atomic Train or Pelham 123, where he got really into like very contrasty color grading and screenplays that just felt so simple. I know some people like those movies. I just couldn't get into them. But Ridley Scott, man, just Gladiator, Alien. I don't even need to say anything else. The man made Gladiator. That's better than anything Tony Scott ever directed. Just that's my motto. So maybe you guys disagree with that. If you do, let me know. Days of Thunder was boring AF. Yeah, I was never into it. Like, if you take the premise and the plot to Days of Thunder, there's not really much to it. If you take Top Gun, the original at least, there's really not much to it. Tony Scott liked to make movies that barely had a plot. But then what he would do to camouflage such things was he would use awesome filming techniques and add tons of saturation, and all of his movies always look like they were being shot at golden hour of sunset. That's what he did to mask his very thin plot movies. So that's always what I've noticed from Tony Scott. Not to say he didn't make some good shit. I'm just saying I think his brother was far more talented. All right, the next one comes from Bobby Greer the third. I'm also the third, Bobby. Would you rather be fluent in all languages or be a master of every musical instrument? Ooh, that is... So I have no musical instrument ability or capability. I almost think I'm tone deaf sometimes. But if I could master every musical instrument, I could be a musician. But if I was fluent in all languages, I don't know. I don't even know what I would do with that. Be a translator for, I don't know. That doesn't sound all that. I mean, it'd be fun to go to another country and speak their language instantly, but I don't know. How often will I need to speak Japanese, for example? I can't think of more than, I can't even put myself in a situation where I'm going to need such a thing. So I might go with the musical instrument. I think that would be cool. I think I could do something with that. Imagine if I was just playing the saxophone right now, covered in oil. Imagine that. Huh? Okay. Far more exciting than if I could speak Spanish. And by the way, I did take Spanish class in high school. I got a D+, but only because I copied off the dude beside me for the final exam. But I do know some of my colors. For example, this is azul. Let's go to the next question. The Riddle of Steel says, how's it going, John? What's your opinion on modern rock music? Not in comparison to the 80s rock, just in general. Modern rock, now I like metal music, and every once in a while I find some cool new metal band to listen to, but I like epic metal. I like when there's like some chick singing with an opera-like voice, and there's like a cool score in the background. I like things like that. Modern rock music to me is... It all sounds like whiny dudes having midlife crises, talking about depression, and I hate that. I hate that shit. I don't want to hear about you. Like, it almost sounds like they're scream crying. No. I don't want that. I want to talk about like being a badass. I want to go back to like, for me, the reason I like 1980s rock music or rock ballads or whatever, for example, is it's all about like just getting up and going and letting go. Now it's just like, I'm sad and life sucks. I just think of Stained, for example. Or the song, it's been a while. Like, I don't know. I think of fucking Nickelback. And that's never a good thing. Though I will say there's some catchy stuff they have. I'm just putting it out there. The next one comes from Mikey Wise. Hey man, I'm competing in a bodybuilding show this weekend. So I'm ready to eat my own arm. Doesn't sound like a bad meal. What would your last meal / dessert and snack be? Loving all the live streams lately. Well, thanks, Mikey. How's it going, man? And good luck with the bodybuilding competition, man. What weight class are you competing at? And what kind of show is it? But my last meal, I love a good New York strip with some mashed potatoes and maybe some like macaroni and cheese, maybe some asparagus, something like that. I go with something like that. That's my go-to. If I wanted a dessert, oh man, I'm thinking like a nice warm brownie with some ice cream. Oh God, give it to me now. I'd probably go with that. And that's what you should do after your bodybuilding competition. And good luck, man. Good luck. Rub some baby oil on the pecs just for me, man. And thanks for the question in the super chat, man. James Doshier says, you are driving in the middle of nowhere for hours. You are hungry, and there's only a McDonald's or a Subway in a small town. You come across. Which do you pick? It depends. It really depends. Now, the biggest question is, are either of these facilities attached to a gas station? Because I have one rule in life, and never buy my food where I buy my fuel. And don't say I never tried to help you guys. I recommend you never do that either. So I'd probably go with the Subway, depending. Now, there are some Subways I've walked to in my life. I've walked in, I've looked at them, and where you see all of the food prepared down here, where you see the meats and the veggies, if I see one fly flying around anywhere in the vicinity of any of this food, I leave. Because I know there's been multiple flies that have sat on that lettuce and puked on it or taken a shit or laid their eggs, and I refuse. At least at Burger King, you hope that they cooked it at some point reasonably and it wasn't setting out and bugs sat on it. You know, so for me, I think almost a safer bet would be McDonald's in that situation. I'm going to go with McDonald's on that. Cyrus says, what about Elmo subs, John? I do like me some Elmo subs. Now, okay, I might be a hypocrite. I just lied to you guys. So Elmo's is a place here in Indiana that is in fact attached to a gas station, but it's sort of its own entity. But I have not eaten there in a while. It's been a while, and their food is very salty, so it'll kill all bacteria. Though they did get me sick once with food poisoning, and I refused to ever eat there again until recently. So you got to play it by ear. That's all. I don't know. You got to play it by ear. But when it comes to Elmo's, there's no standalone location. You got to go to the gas station to get it. But it depends on the gas station. Okay? If they have clean floors, they probably have clean food. That is my... we'll go with that. But I'm more of a Burger King guy nowadays. Tanshish Q says, any reason you aren't bug on Aliens as you are on T2? Oh, you mean as big? Yeah, Aliens is good, but T2 to me, just when it comes to storytelling, there's more things in that story that I latch on to. I like the character of the T-800 played by Arnold. You know, you just have this guy who's irreplaceable as an actor. He's not the best actor, but he makes a damn good robot, does he not? And there's just the camaraderie of the T-800 and young John Connor that I relate to. I love it. I put myself in that situation. I would love to go there. I just love the story of it more. I like how it's a bit more grounded in terms of it takes place in Los Angeles and not on some distant colony planet millions of light years away. And I think whenever you have a story that interjects over-the-top sci-fi action in it, but it takes place in a real location that you've seen or have been to or kind of relate to. It just has more relatability to it. So to me, it connects with me more. And I just think the overarching themes of Terminator Judgment Day just fall more in a line with what I'm into when it comes to movies. I love me some aliens. I really do. I think it's awesome. I just think the characters in Terminator are more interesting to me. Like, I like the character of Ripley, but outside of her, who have you ever truly latched onto when it comes to the franchise? I don't know. So anyway, a fun side bit as I talk about middle-aged guy shit is I have a riding lawnmower now, and it's actually on the side. It is called the T1000. So I basically mow my yard on liquid metal, baby. All right, so there's that. I seen a question in here about where do I listen to your podcast? So real quick, I do a podcast exclusively for Patreon members and YouTube members, and we put up a brand new episode last night. It's about an hour long, where we talk about whatever we want to talk about and dive into your guys' questions in detail. So the new episode of the podcast is up. If you guys are YouTube members or Patreon members, just go check it out. And thanks for the question. The next one comes from Akai. How's it going, Akai? Hey, John. Happy Sunday. No question, but electric hedge trimmers are fun. Gardening and landscaping got me through 2020. Yeah, I get it, man. I enjoy it. I'm always looking for the new attachments for my. I go with Ego yard care tools. It's electric. It's awesome. And I'm always looking for new attachments. I'm like, what new attachment do I need for this? Something about using a leaf blower to clean up my driveway and my sidewalks. It just feels like you have the power of God in your hand. I'm just saying. If I was a robot or a cybernetic organism, I would have one of my arms would be a leaf blower. I don't know how useful that would be in combat, but I could clean your driveway in 2.3 seconds. Thanks for the question, man. And we answered your question, Akai, over on the podcast yesterday. So thanks for that. Will H says, John, have you seen Thomas Jane's short film, The Punisher? Dirty Laundry. I did watch that where he is doing his laundry in like a laundromat or something. I vaguely remember it. I saw it years ago. Weren't they trying to like ignite people's interest in another Punisher movie? That's why they made that. Anyway, let's get back to the question. He reprises his role as the Punisher, which I prefer his Punisher over Bernthal's. Both are great in their own way, though. Yeah, John Bernthal is a great actor, but Thomas Jane was more of a Punisher to me. I don't know. But yeah, I kind of agree with you in a way. And I'm still waiting on another badass Punisher movie. To me, that would be the ultimate vigilante movie that could be made with a budget that wasn't $100 million. And it bogs my mind that we haven't got another one recently. Jack says, love the streams and just wanted to let you know I prefer not watching live, so I'm heading out now. Keep it up. Well, thanks, Jack. You prefer not watching live. That's interesting. I wonder why. I mean, I guess you can skim past shit you don't care about, so it makes sense. I'll take it. Thanks for the question. All right, the next one comes from... Have I ever been to Miami? I have not. I've never been to Miami. But I don't really have the urge to go, to be completely honest with you. I don't know what I would do there, besides go to the beaches. I don't know. You know what? Whenever I'm in the mood to go to Miami, I just watch Scarface. And something about 1980s Miami is how I would want Miami to be. Modern day Miami, I don't know. What do you do there? What do you do? What do you do in Miami? I don't know. If I want to go to the beach, I don't need to go to Miami. The next one comes from Collie Wally. I just got done with round 3 of watching D&D in theaters. Man, 3 times? You must love that shit. And I can't get enough of it. I'm also sad It hasn't performed well at the box office. Yeah, I guess general audiences just weren't clamoring for a D&D movie. Though I do think once the D&D hits streaming, I think it'll find a new life. I think once people watch it at home, watch it on Netflix, it'll be a movie people enjoy. Because it's such an easy movie that the comedy works, the adventure is fun, that you could watch at home. And I think as soon as Netflix gets a hold of it or whatever, I think a newfound appreciation will come for the movie. I enjoyed it. I did. The next one comes from... It's coming from somebody here. Let me see. Oh, here it is. DJ Run 01. I went to the Mario Bros. Movie with my nephews, and we all enjoyed it. Can you do a Morgan Freeman impression saying, "It's me, I'm Mario"? That's not a very good impression, but I did my best. Now, Princess Peach. Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it, man. I was not a huge fan of the Mario Bros. Movie, and I get that the stories from the games aren't all that complicated. I get it. Mario saves Princess Peach. I get it. But I was just hoping for a little more heart, and something about the Mario Bros. Movie just felt soulless. Like, it's an easy movie to watch. It truly is. My biggest complaint with the Mario Bros. Movie, or at least when I was watching it, was, yeah, it didn't have the heart of something like a Pixar movie. I don't think it's going to capture my attention or go back and rewatch it over and over again. But my biggest complaint with it is as soon as they come across Donkey Kong in the movie, and then you hear Seth Rogen go, "Oh, hey, Mario, you want to smoke a banana or something?" I just get so turned off from it. And some of the voice choices just didn't feel inspired, the casting choices. It's like everyone just played themselves and not the character. Like when I heard Chris Pratt, it sort of just sounds like Chris Pratt with sort of a New York accent. And then you have Charlie Day as Luigi. "Hey, Mario, what are you doing? Hey, come here. What are we going to do?" He's just playing very high-strung Charlie Day. Everyone was just playing themselves. And for like 5 seconds, Jack Black felt like he was playing like something different when it came to Bowser. And then by the end of the movie, he's just doing his best Meatloaf piano solo impression. "Princess Peach, why won't you come?" Yeah, like, it just, I don't know. It just felt like soulless baby food to me. Anyway, I'm glad you enjoyed it with your nephews. Crunch Butt Steak says, "Why you let Lights Camera Jackson out of the pickle jar?" I think it was time. It was time to let go. Is he still around? Is he still making videos, or what does he do nowadays? I don't know. I just remember when you had 10-year-old Lights Camera Jackson, and the only reason he got a gig is because his dad's a producer. It wasn't due to talent or anything like that. And I just remember his fucking Inception review. "Well, I don't know. I didn't really get it." Yeah, it's because you're a 9-year-old stupid little kid. Now shut up. Let's go to the next question. The Riddle of Steel says, "Went to the AMC in Kokomo, Indiana." Ooh, man, is that the AMC that had some bed bugs years ago? Anyway, if it's not, sorry, don't sue me, AMC. A few weeks ago, and saw Renfield. Okay, a small popcorn and 2 waters were like $28.99. The 2 tickets were $12.99. Yeah, it's absolutely atrocious. And you can make that long claim that, well, yeah, but studio or movie theaters, that's how they make their money, with snacks and drinks. That's great. You can overcharge me. But when you're overcharging me 10,000 times what it actually costs to make this shit, that's just a blatant slap in my face. Now, hear me out. Hear me out. What if instead of a bag of popcorn costing $23, just call me crazy, now it costs 2 cents to make that popcorn. What if it costs like $5 for a large? Now imagine how many more people would get it on a consistent basis. And now imagine if it was somewhat, just slightly affordable, just slightly. Imagine every weekend families would go, "Oh, you know what? It's overpriced a little bit, but we can kind of afford it. Maybe we'll go see every movie at the theater every weekend rather than just once a month." Call me crazy, but doesn't it seem like that would be a way to maximize profits on a consistent basis over and over again with returning customers? I don't know. But anyway, back to shit's too expensive, man. Every time I go to, now listen, I sneak everything into the movie theater. I sneak everything in. All right. I will load my girlfriend's bag until it's busting at the seams. All right. It's getting to the point where instead of a small purse, I'm going to give her a duffel bag for her birthday, and I'm going to load it with so many snacks. But the one thing I do give into at the movie theater, more often than not, is I do buy drinks. Because whenever you buy a drink and you sneak it in, it gets warm halfway through the movie. No. I need some ice. I need a cold beverage. Okay, that's the one thing I don't skimp on. And occasionally I do buy the movie theater popcorn. But yeah, it's ridiculous. The prices are astronomical. And it doesn't even make sense. And I worked at a movie theater. I worked in the concession stand and I was an usher. And I will say this. Don't you ever buy a movie theater hot dog. Don't you do it. Don't you do it. Don't do it. All right, the next question comes from James Doshier. Have you seen the movie Flashdance from 1983? I have seen Flashdance many, many moons ago. That's the John Travolta, Jamie Lee Curtis movie. Or is Flashdance the other one where she lays down in the chair and pulls the string and water soaks her body? Which one? I don't remember what's what. Yeah, okay, it's the second one. Yes, I have seen Flashdance. Yes. What was I thinking of? What was the other movie I was thinking of? Anyway, I have seen Flashdance. I owned it once on Blu-ray. Don't ask why. But I have seen Flashdance. I don't remember much about it because it's probably been 15 years since the last time I watched it. Iconic scenes, but I remember nothing else beyond the one scene. Neil McCauley says, hey, bro, do you have a dream duo of actor / director? And if so, what genre would it be? Which actor and director would I like to see work together? I don't know. How about Gyllenhaal and Christopher Nolan? I think it's time Nolan put Gyllenhaal in one of his movies. I don't think he has he? I don't think Gyllenhaal's been in a Nolan movie, so there's one combo I would like to. Also, Tarantino. There's tons of actors I'd like to see work with Tarantino. And Gyllenhaal's another one of them. Has Christian Bale been in a Tarantino movie? I don't think he has. That could be interesting as well. If he has, don't correct me on it, but I don't think he has. So I would like to see an ensemble cast of actors that have never worked with Tarantino. I mean, I would like to see Stallone work with Tarantino as a whatever role he could fit into. So there's a few. Someone said that's Footloose. No, it's not. No, someone's thinking of Dirty Dancing. Okay. Footloose is Kevin Bacon, baby. Don't forget that. The next one comes from Shut Up Cat Productions. He definitely died. He definitely smoked 1K cigs a day. Sorry, Dad. Your dad's a cool guy. I still like your dad. I did meet I met Shut Up Cat Productions at MegaCon in Orlando last month. His dad was there, and his dad was a really nice guy. I got to talk to him for a minute. So, Carter Lovejoy says, if I open a theater someday, I'm giving you everlasting free admission and free snacks / refreshments. Well, thank you for that, Carter Lovejoy, and I will be there. Except I have to somehow book a plane ticket that costs $600 to always go to the theater. But small price to pay. It'll still be cheaper than buying 2 bags of popcorn. So, the next one comes from come on. Let's read this one here. From Clark Ingleton. And Clark, I'm getting to your questions here, man. Give me a second. Sometimes the questions do not pop up. I'm looking for Clark's question. Maybe I haven't gotten to it yet, Clark, but I don't know where it is, man. But I'm going to read it here. And Clark Ingleton says, missed my question on the last one, but I forgive your sins against okay, on the last one. Okay. I forgive your sins against humanity. And Clark, let me punish myself right here in a public forum, because I will leave no question unread. And if I do, I will suffer the consequences. And here they go. That's for you, Clark. Anyway, Snowtown's about a serial killer grooming a kid into being a serial killer. Also, Chopper. Crazy Aussie movies you'll love. You'll love them. What is this called? Snowtown? It's about a serial killer grooming a serial killer. I'll look into this, Clark. I'm going to look into this shit, man. Snowtown. Someone else has mentioned Chopper to before. Isn't Chopper a movie about, and if I'm wrong, let me know. Isn't Chopper a movie that's with a guy in prison? He's like a prison gang member. I unless that's another Chopper. So, but what I heard was Chopper, Sick Balls. What movie is that from? All right, the next one's coming from Will H. John, I hear you on Avatar's writing in the script. Way too many bros and bras at the end of many lines in the dialogue, but I guess that's how they need to appeal to the younger audiences these days. Yeah, the little kids are like, "Hey, brah." I think it was just the way they talk. I don't know. Maybe they got it from their dad, Jake Sully. Anyway, also the Marines, when the Marines become avatars in Avatar: The Way of Water, they are just the most one-dimensional people that have ever existed. Hoorah! Get 'em! All right. It's just like that is their personality. Just fucking jarheads for life. I don't know. 1901 says, John, have you ever seen the movie The Bounty with Mel Gibson and Anthony Hopkins? It's basically Master and Commander, except with mutiny involved. I highly recommend it. It's definitely underrated, just like Master and Commander. The Bounty with Mel Gibson? What is this? It sounds familiar. The Bounty, 1984. What is going on with this movie? Holy shit, it takes place on a ship? Okay, the Mutiny of Marlon Brando? Is that something else? What am I? Bounty movie. There's not enough movies that take place on old pirate ships. I've been saying that for years. And Hollywood is just not listening to me. Okay, you turned me on to this, man. I dig a movie that takes place on the open sea. It's something about it's truly relaxing and titillating to the senses. So I will check this out. The Bounty with Mel Gibson. Has anyone seen this shit? Did you like it? Did you enjoy it? Is it comparable to Master and Commander? I don't think many movies are, but I'll take a chance on this. I've never watched it. So thank you for that recommendation. I'll check it out. I'm going to swab the poop deck with that movie later. All right. The next one comes from Jesus Is it Salcedo? I'm going to call you Jesus. You know I call you Jesus. Here it goes, man. My girlfriend and I watched BCS and she loved it. Also, Illy. BCS. Someone help me with the abbreviations of BCS. Better Call Saul? Is that what we're there? You guys know when I'm talking fast, abbreviations do not penetrate my brain matter. Are you referring to BCS as Better Call Saul? If you're not, someone help me out. Oh, so they did release a new season on Netflix. I almost assume that's when you watched it. Either way, great spinoff. Truly great. I loved me Better Call Saul. As soon as one character died in that series, it instantly got better and less annoying every episode. Someone said, can't wait to see Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Absolutely, man. Go check that shit out now. And we got a question from a YouTube member here. MKF30 says, what do you think of the popcorn bundles like the John Wick bucket where they give you 4 coins or the Mario bucket where you get a metal question mark block. Now, I think those are kind of cool. So those usually cost like $20-$30, and sometimes they make sense. There was one for Scream where it had ghost-faced head. There was one a couple years ago for the Ghostbusters movie. I think it was like $40, where it was the Ecto-1 Ghostbusters vehicle where you could open up the top and put some popcorn in it. Stuff like that's cool to me. And if it comes with like a free refill of popcorn and you want to collect the popcorn bucket and it looks cool, absolutely. I have the Batman popcorn bucket head back. You want me to grab it? I'll grab it. Hang on. Good thing I'm wearing pants for this live show. Hang on. So I had a buddy who was he used to be a manager of a movie theater. His name's Colton, and sometimes he watches this shit either way. He picked this up for me because I missed it, and this is awesome. This is a popcorn bucket. So you open up Batman's little cowl here and pour popcorn in a Batman's skull. And you eat that shit. Nothing makes you feel more like a man when you're eating popcorn out of Batman's fucking skull. I'll tell you that. And when you fill this bad boy up, his eyes are transparent here, so you can see the popcorn all filled up in there. Of course, I'm probably never going to put popcorn in there because it would be a disaster to clean it out. And getting his brain matter out was tough enough. So that, to me, that's a cool popcorn bucket. Like, I would buy that. It just depends what it is. Would I buy the Super Mario Bros. Question mark? Probably not. But a Batman cowl? Absolutely. All right. The next one comes from... Optimistic Forever. What would be your go-to karaoke song? Ooh... Probably, let me see. I have two. Yeah, I'd probably go with White Snakes. Here I Go. Again. Probably that. Here I go again on my own. Like, just, you know how many times I've listened to that in a U-Haul truck, just uprooting my life to go somewhere else? I relate to that song maybe a little bit too much, so maybe that. Any 80s rock ballad I'll take. Or maybe something from like Phil Collins or Huey Lewis in the News. Or the entire soundtrack to American Psycho. Either one. Robin J. Yang says, I know you're not into anime, but I have to recommend Attack on Titan. Since you love Guardians of the Galaxy, I think you'll like it. Plus, please watch the first episode. It'll hook you. Yeah, it's just, anime is one of those things that I'm almost scared to get too into because I feel like it's such a learning curve that I'm going to have to like, okay, I watched this and I have to watch 87 other anime movies. And it's one of those things that I don't know. I just never got super into. I've tried. And I completely get it and respect it. And I've been recommended so many anime movies, and I've seen a handful of really good anime movies, but then I go, well, yeah, but that kind of reminded me of this other movie that's live action that I actually enjoy more. So I know a lot of people who love anime right now are saying, just shut the fuck up. All right, Azine the Dream Review says, hey, Johnny, is it just me, or do you also think that lately people have been making fun of and shitting on Bale's Batman? I don't get it. Him and Keaton are my all-time faves. I mean, people have always shit on Bale's Batman voice, and I just say, yeah, but if I was a criminal in a dark alleyway and a dude in a black latex suit jumped down and grabbed me by the fucking neck and said, I would be like, okay, that is terrifying. I don't know if this guy is tweaking or methed out, but I'm going to do whatever he says and comply with him. You know, a deep voice like, "Where the drugs?" Like, that's cool. I get it. But that does not intimidate me as much as like someone who feels truly unleashed and angry. So, swallow me. Okay, all right. All right, the next one comes from coming from James Doshier again. If you have amazing running legs, would you run across America like Forrest Gump? Probably not. I find running boring and tedious. And keep in mind, for 2 years, I was on the varsity team of I was a varsity cross country runner, right? And I ran. I'm okay at it. I could do it. But I remember doing it as a kid and thinking, this is just boring. I hate this. Like, why am I doing this? You should only run for your life. Like that's my thing. And also when I was a runner, I would get really bad shin splits, and that's where you basically rip the muscle fiber on the bottom part of your ankle into your shins. And I remember always having to soak my legs in buckets of ice, and it was painful. So yeah, I'm not a fan of running. I hate it. I tried to run around a track at a gym like a few months ago, and I ran like a lap, and I was like, yeah, this is just not for me. I'm going to go do some bicep curls. I don't care. I'm going to stand my ground and fight. I don't need to run away. Who cares about endurance? It's about looking strong. I don't care if I can run 10 feet. Elliot Cecil says, just watch Fight Club. I identify with Tyler Durden. A Sigma male for life. Tyler Durden's a great character. I relate to Edward Norton's character a little bit in the beginning, though, where he's looking at society and just judging it and just saying how everything's a copy of a copy, where you just buy all these artificial consumer goods that don't matter to make yourself feel better about who you are to conform to society, but really nothing matters. I relate to both characters a little bit. So absolutely. Plus, never mind. I was going to talk about Bob's bitch tits, but I don't want to go there. Do Good says, should the MCU bring back directors like Raimi for Doctor Strange 3, Joss Whedon, Shane Black, or even bring back J.J. Abrams to bring their film's style? So, going back to what James Gunn did with Guardians of the Galaxy, he actually has a style and a tone to his movies that don't look like dry concrete, which is what most Marvel movies look like, or they just have this look to them that just looks so substandard. So I think the biggest thing Marvel could do is, they should allow their directors to put a little bit of artistic flair and style into their movies. And I think that's one thing DC has always sort of allowed their directors to do. But absolutely. Now, do I think I need to see Shane Black direct another movie? I like me some Shane Black, but the shit he did with The Predator, I don't know if I can forgive him at this point. Joss Whedon, wasn't he sort of canceled from Hollywood? I don't know. J.J. Abrams, okay. I think Raimi got a little bit of his flair in Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. It wasn't a very good movie, but he got a little bit of his style in there. But yeah, I would like to see more stylistic Marvel movies. I think it wouldn't hurt anything. But really, I think it comes down to screenplay as well. Like, a good screenplay does a lot. Mike Young says, favorite seafood, least favorite seafood. I'm not a huge fan of seafood. I like some fish, some salmon every once in a while. I do like shrimp quite a bit. Can't go wrong with the cockroach of the sea. Lobster's a good time. I'd say that's some of my favorite seafood. Least favorite seafood, I don't know. The oysters are utterly disgusting. I don't understand how people eat that wet, soggy shit that comes out of a rock and it has like grains of sand in it. You can feel the sand in your mouth. I'm like, this is disgusting. So yeah, maybe oysters are my least favorite. Or something with tentacles wouldn't probably be any good. The next one comes from Phil Moon. Phil Moon. Okay, here it goes. Since James has been obsessed with the Blue Giant, what do you want to direct who do you want to direct the new Terminator? Matt Reeves. What about you, John Flickinger? Matt Reeves? Do I think Matt Reeves would make a good Terminator movie? I think he'd do good. I think I would put some faith in that. I think he understands characters. I think he understands action. I mean, he did do some of the Apes movies. He did the Batman. I think Matt Reeves is an okay choice. It depends what kind of Terminator movie we're looking to make, though. You know, I'm trying to think of like another modern day action director. And yeah, you know what? Matt Reeves is a good choice. I'm gonna go with you on that one. I was trying to think of someone else, but nothing was coming to mind. I know someone might say the director like John Wick or something, but yeah, Matt Reeves, good choice. I'm gonna go with it. But the question is, can they make a competent Terminator movie? Because the last two attempts just seem to get worse and worse. So I don't know. How about instead of making more Dune movies, we get the director of Dune and Sicario. Denis Villeneuve. I always say his last name wrong. Kevin Diaz says, favorite Lethal Weapon movie. My wife thought a clip of the show looked good, so I'm currently introducing her to the movies. I never watched. There was a Lethal Weapon show. But didn't they have like one of the Wayans brothers in it? I didn't watch that shit. But if you're going for the movies, you got to go with Lethal Weapon 1 or 2, man. All day. Now, I like the first one. But I also like when they introduced Pesci a little bit. And then Jet Li was in like Lethal Weapon, 3 or 4? So I'd definitely go with the first Lethal Weapon. I like when Danny Glover, Murtaugh, and Riggs first like combined forces. I like that. I like origin stories of sorts. And then Mel Gibson's character eats dog food. So all right, the next one comes from Dustin Rich. If you played a bounty hunter in the 1980s TV show, what kind of vehicle would you drive and which 80s actor would be your partner? Ooh, shit. So I would probably drive like a decked out H1 Humvee, like a military vehicle. I think those came out those were built in the mid to late 80s. So I would drive like a militarized Humvee, decked out with fog lights, grill guards, all kinds of cool stuff on it, with huge like off-road all-terrain tires. And I would need my sidekick to be, let's see, maybe Carl Weathers? How's that? How's that for a sidekick? Or do I need more of a goofy sidekick from the 1980s? Maybe now if I need a goofy, like tech savvy sidekick, maybe late 1980s Michael J. Fox. He could always be over there. He'd be like the guy, my navigator, the guy on the GPS. I guess we didn't have GPS in the late 1980s, but he'd be on the radio handling the calls and all the tech. I go with, how about Michael J. Fox from the 1980s, or Carl Weathers. Carl Weathers would be the enforcer of the group. So essentially, it's going to be like the A team now. How's that? Thanks for the question. That was an interesting one. Will H says, John, yeah, I think Thomas Jane made the film due to the original sequel getting so delayed and ultimately ended up not happening. I agree as well. I like Thomas Jane's more grounded approach to the character. Bernthal seems less controlled and anxious. Yeah, Bernthal always just seems like a guy who has like an ex-drug habit. He always seems like, all right, I don't know what to do with my hands right now. I'm a little on edge. I'm always a little like he always seems coked out or something, or like coked out and meth. He seems like something's going on. His eyes are always darting around like this, always talking like this, always looking around all crazy eyed. Like his character Shane in The Walking Dead is just, he's kind of played the same vibe in all of his roles. So yeah, I agree. Also, what was that really shitty Purge movie? Purge whatever, where it had God, what was the actor from Warrior who played Crossbones in the Marvel movies. He sort of played like a Punisher-esque character in that shitty Purge movie, which he was the best thing about it. I cannot remember. Frank Grillo, right? Hear me out. I think Frank Grillo would almost make a better Punisher than John Bernthal. I know maybe that's an unpopular, weird thing to say, but I think he has more of a controlled vibe to him, where I'd buy into it a little bit more. Anyone else? Yeah, was that Purge Anarchy? I don't remember what Purge is what. Yeah, do you guys think Frank Grillo would actually make a better Punisher, or at least for a Punisher TV series? I don't know. He kind of played Punisher in the Purge movie. Mike Young says, thoughts on Jerry Springer's death. Yeah, rest in peace, Jerry Springer. I remember watching that shit in the mid-1990s before the internet was a thing. So you kind of believed what was happening. And it was the most pure trashiest shit you could ever watch on TV, but it was awesome. So yeah, rest in peace, Jerry Springer, man. Clark Ingleton says, missed my question on the last one. Oh, I already answered this from Clark. Night King 01 says, you do know the entirety of Scarface was filmed in LA, right? They got kicked out of Miami because they were being threatened by actual gangs. Yes, but there's actual scenes that were filmed in Miami. There's one scene where in the convertible, where right before the chainsaw arm scene, where that isn't in fact in Miami. It's in fact in Miami. So you might be right. They might have filmed a lot of the interior shots or some of the shots in Los Angeles, but that scene was in Miami. So I'm going to stand by my original thing. Anyway, let's go back to Night King's question here. They were being threatened by actual gangs. Also, that shot of him on the phone, where is that? A phone in the middle of nowhere. It's a wallpaper. Yeah, they had to have a more cinematic paid phone call scene. Because most payphones are always beside a dilapidated gas station or something. Yeah, they wanted the nice sunset in the background, in the middle of nowhere, on the side of a bridge. I'm sure that exists. But either way, I don't care. It's in Miami when I watch it. I don't care if it was... I mean, that's like saying Jason Takes Manhattan wasn't shot in Manhattan. It was actually shot in Vancouver, Canada. But hey, I don't care. It's okay. Elliot Cecil says, Johnny, my boy, you should totally donate to my Indiegogo when I start it in May for my neon noir short film File Under Death to release spring 2024. I'll mention it if you mention it on another live show in the future, man. I'll help you out. But what I would like to see before I do mention it and promote your shit, do you have a short trailer or an example of your movie? Let me know. I want to see what you're doing over there, man. But good luck with the movie. Buster Nuttingham says, I wish the Batman v Superman film with Colin Farrell and Jude Law got made from the early 2000s. Also, Justice League Mortal 2. Who would you like to direct The Brave and the Bold? Fincher, maybe? Ooh, I think something like Batman-esque, especially in the new DC version of things, I think Fincher would be a little too dark for such a thing. And don't get me wrong, I don't mind dark, but I also think there's a fine line that we need to separate past Batman films. You know, if you want dark, I think Matt Reeves did a pretty good interpretation of what Fincher already does. Right? I think the Batman was sort of like a Fincher-esque Batman movie. So I would like to see something go a little more fantastical. I would like if they could push the boundaries of Batman not to be so grounded in every single aspect. That's what I would like to see. And as far as the early 2000s Batman movie with Jude Law and Colin Farrell, I don't know what the fuck that is, man. I don't even know what that is. I thought the original Batman v Superman was going to be something different. I didn't know Jude Law was supposed to be in that. I did not know about that. Now, I know the failed Avengers film, or not the failed Justice League movie from '07 that never got made, where Armie Hammer was supposed to play Batman, and I'm so glad that garbage never was made. But I don't know much about the Colin Farrell Batman. But who would I like to direct a Batman Brave and the Bold? I don't know. I'd have to look at the slew of directors right now out there working. I don't know. I'm trying to think of a director I would like to go with that. And I don't know. To give you an answer, I do not know off the top of my head. Like James Gunn's directing the new Superman movie, which I think can be interesting, but I have no clue who would make a good Batman movie these days in Hollywood. I'd have to sit and ponder on that. Do you guys have a recommendation? Who should direct the upcoming Batman, the Brave and the Bold movie? Off the top of my head, I can't come up with somebody. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Parker LaRue says, will you ever bring back flick trips? Yes. Yes, we're going to have a new flick trip. Just hang on. Hold on. Just hold on. It's coming. I promise. There's one recorded. It's happening. John has not read the script for Justice League Mortal. It would have been so awesome. Yeah, I read a few pages of it, and it looked like a bastardized 2007 comic book movie. It just looked like fan fiction to me. It sort of looked like a shitty version of what they already did with the Avengers. I remember, like, it was just like, and now we go to Aquaman riding a huge wave, and it just felt like fan fiction to me. It didn't feel cleverly written. I don't know. I do remember reading something about it on Reddit, a few pages of it years ago. Yeah, Michael Bay for the new Batman movie. There you go. Michael Bay should direct it. Absolutely. Movies for Life says, what would some of your worst movies from last year be? Mine would be Jurassic World Dominion. Yes, you hit the nail right on the head. I think my least favorite movie from last year would probably be Jurassic World Dominion, because it feels like, what excuse can you give me for why that movie was so atrociously fucking terrible? Okay? You had everything you needed. You had dinosaurs. You had the original cast. You had Jeff fucking Goldblum. You had hundreds of millions of dollars, and you couldn't put together a coherent script where your main subplot is giant locusts. I think if you just went to 5 people and said, you guys think this is a good idea? I think at least 4 out of the 5 people would have said, no, that's terrible. We don't want to see that garbage come to fruition. So yeah, Jurassic World Dominion was my least favorite movie of last year. I probably would have put Morbius on there, but maybe at like number 10. Because I didn't think it was going to be good. It's exactly what I expected from Sony when it comes to comic book movies. Just, they're so out of touch. They make movies that look like they're from 2002. Like, you just expect Evanescence music to play in the background every time Morbius is on screen. And they look so blue and dated and just blech. So those were a few of my least favorites. I don't even remember what else came out last year. I had a list written down somewhere. Also, let's see. Also, Movies for Life says, I respect reviewers because you watch true trash so we don't have to. I am very selective nowadays. I watch the movies I want to watch. If I know a movie is going to be bad, I can't bring myself just to watch a bad movie for the sake of watching it. I just can't. Life is too short. But thanks for the question. Pokemon Lover says, John, do you like watching other movie YouTubers? If so, what are some that you like? Also, my favorite Pokemon is Snorlax. He is my spirit animal. Yeah, I like Charizard, and if I could find Pikachu, I'd put him in a large pickle jar down in my basement and keep him forever. My favorite, I don't know. I'll tell you The thing I watch the least of, if you want like a genre I watch the least of on YouTube, it's movie related videos. I talk about movies so much that that's not what I want to watch on YouTube. So when it comes to like movie channels, I don't watch a lot of them anymore. I watch everything else except for like movie stuff on YouTube. I liked, let me take a drink of this. Hang on. I liked Red Letter. I liked Red Letter Media stuff. I like, there was a channel called Film Riot where they dived into the technical aspects of filmmaking. I thought that was interesting. The Corridor Crew, I think, is a good YouTube channel. But like people that just review movies, I don't really watch that anymore. I don't know. I just don't watch movie reviews on YouTube unless it's one of my buddies, and then I'm curious about their thoughts on a certain movie. But I typically don't watch a lot of movie related stuff on YouTube anymore. Talking about it on live shows for hours, I'm like, that's fulfilling enough. I'm more into, I watch a lot of tech channels and things along those lines. The next one comes from DJ Run 01. I just got addicted to Blacklist. What are your thoughts on it? No spoilers, please. I don't watch it. Those are my thoughts on it. I'm sorry to disappoint. Oh, I started watching the new Russo brothers spy show on Amazon Prime called Citadel. And that's one of the most expensive series ever made, I believe. I haven't done much research on it. And I'm only on the first episode. And I don't think I'm going to go much further. It just feels like the most boring, cliche spy show. Maybe there's more to it, but I don't care to know because I don't want to watch anymore. It just feels so blah. It literally feels like a direct-to-DVD spy movie that you would watch in 2008. Does it get better? Am I missing something here? Has anyone watched Citadel? Let me know. Shelby Oaks will be out in July. Really? That's interesting. I figured he'd wait till the fall to release that. Chris Evans' Ghosted is so bad. Yeah, I've heard it's atrociously bad. I don't know how some of these streaming service movies that are getting these A-list actors and they have sufficient budgets, I just don't understand why they're getting made because none of them are good. So what's happening in Hollywood with that? How are these getting greenlit? Did Russo brothers do Gray Man 2? I believe they did, right? They did Extraction. Every show is bad. I mean, pretty much. Not every show. We get good shows, but the majority of them, I just don't understand who they were made for. I don't, like, did you guys have a test audience or run the concept across a few people and say, does this sound interesting to you? Because it seems like all these huge budgeted shows, like the Game of Thrones, or not Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, whatever that shit was on Amazon, which cost like $1 billion. Like, no one talked about it. No one references it. They're like, I've never met anyone who's a fan of it. Like, how do these things get made and produced and greenlit and filmed, and who are they made for? Money laundering. That makes sense. Tax write-offs. Makes sense. Hi, Mark says, L. Poppy Flickinger. I'll take it. Thank you. Shut Up Cat Production says, I'm in Miami. We have a lot here. Your name is Hola. Oh, you name it. Yeah, you got tons of Coke. I mean, you got that. Elliot Cecil says, the scene in American Psycho where they are comparing cards reminded me back in elementary days where my friends would compare our lunch that we had. You know, we did the same thing in elementary school. And if you had a Lunchable in elementary school, you were the shit. You were the man. Oh, you know what I miss? Cafeteria style pizza from school. That square pizza. Oh, that was so good. Better Call Saul is the only good show I can think of recently. Well, I can think of others like House of the Dragon. Oh God, what was the new video game show? Last of Us on HBO was pretty good. There's a handful of good shows. It's just a lot of them are just they're spending too much money to get an audience of no one to watch it. I like who's watching Citadel? What are the ratings for that show? I want to know. Extraction screams '08 direct-to-DVD action movie. Same. I agree with you. People liked that, and I'm just like, it was okay. Like, there were some good ideas, but they couldn't, like, really capitalize on the cast or the budget that they had to make a memorable scene. All right, the next, Queen's Gambit. Yeah, that was a good show. I like shows like Queen's Gambit. Peacemaker was okay. I skimmed through Peacemaker. Yeah, it was okay. Will H says, John, have you seen the movie Harsh Times with Christian Bale? I love the movie Harsh Times with Christian Bale, and I think it's underrated. I'd take your shoes too if you didn't have little bitch feet, dog. Oh, that's a great show. Go watch Harsh Times with Christian Bale because his character, he basically lives a double life. Really, he's like a hardened street thug who's pretending to be this very white collar, jarhead type. He wants to be a police officer, but he's the most crooked dude you'll ever meet. And it takes place in Los Angeles. Highly recommend it. So go watch Harsh Times if you guys never seen it. I've seen the movie like 5 or 6 times. I love it. I saw it in theaters. Another unhinged Christian Bale role, but if you like gritty movies like Training Day and Menace to Society, you should check it out. Absolutely, yeah, it's kind of like Training Day. It's not as good as Training Day, but similar. Clark Ingleton says, Chopper is a biker released from prison, and he is Lou Bloom, Patrick Bateman-esque, dark comedy, charismatic sociopath movie. Yeah, I've heard of it, man. I'll definitely check it out. Kind of everything I like to see. By the way, we're about 25 minutes behind on the question, so I'm going to go way quicker here. And by the way, I'm going to wrap up the live show. We have to wrap up the live show before midnight. How's that? So midnight Eastern time, we're going to wrap up the live show by then. So if you guys have anything juicy, get it in now. Here it goes. Brian Vandenberg says, Hi, John. Do you plan on playing the game Star Wars Jedi Survivor? I know nothing about it, and I have not planned on it. The only thing I play these days is Rocket League. I play Rocket League for 30 minutes, my armpits get sweaty, and I stop. So that's usually what I'm playing nowadays. I'm not opposed to it. My girlfriend had played the Harry Potter Hogwarts Legacy game. She's at 100% completion now. That's how much of a nerd she is. And she was playing the shit out of that for like the last month. So, 1901 says, Trust me, John. I would say it's pretty close to Master Commander. It's not a pirate movie. It's about a British... I know it's not a pirate movie. It's about a British Navy ship who try to make their way around the Horn of Africa, and a mutiny happens. Some scenes are really similar to Master Commander, Rent, 1984. Sounds good, man. Yeah, sounds good. I'm digging it. I just like shit that takes place on the sea. I like an old wooden boat. I like people living their life in one small confined space, making do with whatever they have. Just smelly old men out at sea. That's what I want, with a vitamin deficiency so they all get scurvy. That's my type of movie. Akai's back again. How's it going again, man? Here it goes. Now I have a question. Haha. Will you see Return of the Jedi 40th anniversary re-releasing in theaters? I don't know. I could dig that. I think that could be cool. I'm not opposed to it. Maybe. Or maybe I'll watch it at home on my 83-inch OLED TV on 4K with superior picture quality where the popcorn doesn't cost $87. But I could see going to the theater to enjoy. You know where it would be fun to watch the re-release or the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi? at a drive-in movie theater. Now, to me, that sounds cool. That would be something fun to do. And I might consider something like that. My dad and I are going to see it. Should be fun. And I'm using Streamlabs now. Haha. Well, thanks for that, man. Thank you so much. And have fun, man. Have fun. Enjoy that shit. Let the force flow through your veins. Claudia Rogajon says, "Hey John, what's up? I think I'm having an unhealthy obsession with TMNT at the moment, and writing that script is way harder than I thought it would be." Well, good luck with the script. I mean, just write the movie that you want to see, and maybe it'll just come to you instantly. That's what I would do. Just write the stuff you want to see. Make everyone charismatic. Make things stand out. Have a scene or two that are just have a scene in your film that's just going to blow the hair back of people. Like for me, the ultimate scenes in like comic book movies or whatever are the scenes that give you absolute fan service and give you goosebumps when you watch it. That's what I love to see. So, you need like, for example, you need a scene in your film that gives you the same crowd pleasing moment like when Captain America picked up Thor's hammer. You write something like that in there, build it up. But good luck with it, man. Now, is Shredder the main villain? You got to make Shredder the villain. Is Bebop and Rocksteady in your movie? They better be. Josh Rivera says, "Yo, John, appreciate you, friend. The room looks great." I like the room too. It's got a nice vibe, a nice feel to it. It looks inviting. It looks fun. Really, I'll tell you this. When I was 10 years old, this is what I envisioned I wanted my room to look like. But when I was 10 years old, back in the mid-1990s, well, LED lights weren't really a thing. You had neon lights, but like the thought of having like arcade machines and LED lights and all kinds of cool shit just were like unobtainable to me as a kid. And now as an adult, like I can have this shit, so I do it. So every time I come in here, it reminds me of my youth. It's my safe, happy place. It's the place that takes years off my life in a good way. It makes me feel younger when I walk into it. So thank you for that. OE Review says it's a solid game. Well, good to know. Gilliam LaBelle says Beef was pretty good. I've heard good things. I watched the trailer and I just thought to myself, I don't want to watch two people that I don't give a shit about have a confrontation with each other over and over again. I just don't care. Just beat each other to death with baseball bats. I don't care. Please. I'll lock both characters in a room and just let them hash it out. I don't care. Oh, you cut me off. I'm mad. I don't give a shit. I'll slash your tires and go on with my life. Just end it there. All right. Did you guys watch Beef? Is it good? Should I watch it? I don't know. I just feel like there's better things to watch. The 50% Doctor Who podcast says, John, what's your most embarrassing story ever? I don't know about my most embarrassing story. I don't know my most embarrassing story. I don't know. I'm sure I have a few. I'm sure, but you know what I remember most of being a teenager? I had really greasy, oily skin. And I remember for like 4 or 5 years of my life, I would get acne. And every once in a while, I'd get like a few really bad pimples, like disgusting pimples that were just so ingrained under my skin. It didn't look like acne. It looked like a gunshot wound. And I remember like a few times like being terrified to go to school, because when you're a teenager, first of all, you're already self-conscious, and now you have to go to school with all your peers and everyone looking at you under fluorescent lights that don't hide anything or do you any favors. And I remember like sometimes being so embarrassed of that. And I remember at the point when I finally like, turned 18 years old, it all cleared up and never came back. But I remember just going to high school sometimes, I was so embarrassed. And I get really shy and quiet on those days where if I had a huge pimple on my head, I kind of sat like this to hide it all day. So little things like that, being a teenager sucks. And I'm sorry if you guys are going through that. But rest assured, one day you will grow out of it. I'm eating, brah. Yeah, well, that sucks for you, man, but enjoy that meal. The next one comes from Mickey C. Matthew Vaughn for Batman Brave and the Bold. Now, that's a good choice. I like me some Matthew Vaughn. I actually enjoyed the shit he did with X-Men First Class. I liked what he did with the movie Kick-Ass. I think he is a talented director, and I think he could do a comic book movie again. Yeah, I think Matthew Vaughn's not a bad choice. I don't think that's a terrible choice. I don't. If he could bring the kind of the same tone that he brought with X-Men First Class, where it's a little bit gritty and adult oriented, but also at the same time it has a spectacular comic book look to it. Hey, not a bad choice. Not a bad choice. For a minute there, Matthew Vaughn was attached to possibly do a Superman movie for a minute. I remember that, but yeah, Matthew Vaughn would be good. Or here's another thing: if Matthew Vaughn didn't do a Batman movie, imagine like a Matthew Vaughn X-Men movie, another X-Men movie from Marvel. Could be interesting. Just putting it out there. My ultimate wet dream would be a $500 million X-Men movie directed by James Cameron. Now imagine the shit he would give you. It'd be epic. I'm just saying. All right, let's go to the next one here. Edward Nito says, "Sup, John? Do you have a favorite David Fincher movie?" I do. I think Seven and A Girl with a Dragon Tattoo are probably my favorite Fincher films, but I do appreciate things like Zodiac. I know some people really enjoy Aliens 3. Also, I thought Jurassic World Dominion was going to be like the book Dinotopia. It's about humans and dinos coexisting. Yeah, I thought Jurassic World Dominion was going to do a lot of things. It just didn't quite do. Like, you had dinosaurs existing in society, or at least 3 scenes where they're existing in society, where you have like a guy's a construction site building a house, and then a Stegosaurus walks by, and there's like that was it. Like, that's what we're doing with this. What a waste. I thought it would have been interesting to see like a children's baseball game, and they're all out there playing baseball, and then all of a sudden like a flock of velociraptors just jump in and eat them. Like, I thought something like that would be pretty interesting. Which No, but I do agree with you. I wanted to see how society and dinosaurs could somewhat coexist to a certain degree. But what they did is just not what anyone wanted. They did everything that they should not have done in Dominion. It's like everything you want to see, they didn't do. Everything you didn't want to see, they did. How did it get made? I don't know. Dustin Rich says, "Do you have a favorite Seinfeld episode?" Not in particular. I couldn't. Maybe the Soup Nazi episode was good. I like the one where Jerry goes to the dentist. Pretty much anything seasons 1 through like 4 are pretty good to me. For me, Seinfeld episodes always blend together. Like, I can remember certain scenes, but I can't remember the episode. Because that's just how I remember Seinfeld. Clark Ingleton says, "John, don't just look at my question, eat it." How about I don't just look at your question, but I read it? Shut Up Cat Production says, "What movie have you seen the most in theaters?" Which movie have I seen the most in theaters? Ooh. I saw Batman Begins probably, I don't think I've seen a movie at the theater more than 3 times. Usually by the 3rd time, I'm good. So this might be, okay. This isn't a good movie. This is actually a terrible movie, but it came out at a weird time in life. So Fast and Furious 2. At the time that movie came out, there was like nothing else really big to see. And I remember I went and saw that movie with every group of friends I had. So I went and saw it with one friend. Then another group of friends wanted to go do something and they hadn't seen the movie, so I tagged along. Then I went on like a date to go see the movie. So I saw Fast and Furious 2 at the theater probably 4 times. And I slowly grew to hate it more and more each time. It's not even, like, it's not a good movie. I think Fast and Furious 3 is light years better than Fast and Furious 2, if that says anything. And that movie has a little Bow Wow in it. So take that how you will. But, yeah, maybe Fast and Furious 2 I saw in theaters more than I wanted to, just because everyone I was friends with wanted to go do it and there was nothing else better to do. Claudia Rojan back once again. I saw Extraction as just another John Wick, but set in India. It's basically just another stunt show, and yes, the stunts and fight scenes are great, but the story is bare bones. You see, I would disagree with you. I don't think the fight scenes or the sequences are all that good or well filmed. I think the Russo bros have this weird style that they like to make things look very handheld. They don't do shaky cam per se, but they intentionally make it look like they're holding the camera. And sometimes I don't like it. Also, I did like the one take shot in Extraction where like they get in a fight and it's like, you know, it's a cool shot, but nothing I'd want to go back and revisit. So yeah and no at the same time. But thanks for the question, man. Like for me, it just it felt like it felt like 10% of what a Call of Duty movie would be. That's what Extraction was for me. Like if you amplified it 99% more, you'd have a full out Call of Duty movie. Except Extraction felt like a sliver of what that movie would be. Does that make any sense to people? I don't know. The next one comes from Shut Up Cat Productions. Once again, sent you my friend's channel on Twitter. DM thumbs up. What do you want me to do with that? What do you want me to do with it? What's his? I don't even know what his channel is. I'll check it out, man. What's his channel, though? Fidel Reyes says, John, did you know Batman is entering the public domain in 2034? Superman in 2033, Mickey Mouse in 2024, etc. The 2030s will be a weird age of transition. Yes. So what does that mean? Well, it means you can kind of take the concept of what Batman is as long as you don't duplicate what studios have already copyrighted. So we can take the concept of Batman, but if I make my version and my interpretation of Batman look different, I could make my own Batman movie, legally speaking. As long as my version of Batman looks different than anything that they've put on screen or have put in a comic book or have copyrighted. And that's why you get so many Pinocchio movies. Because the copyright to Pinocchio, well, you can make a Pinocchio movie, you just can't make it look like Disney's Pinocchio movie, for example. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting next couple of decades. And I think when Batman is released into the public domain, I will take it. I will make a Batman movie. How's that? And I'll have a GoFundMe to make it. It'll be the shittiest Batman movie ever made, but I'm going to make it. How's that? But it's going to be cool. At some point, it's going to be interesting to see what happens when everyone's making like their interpretation of a Batman movie. That's probably why studios are trying to milk comic book movies while they can before all this shit hits the public domain. They're just going to try to make 18 Superman movies before this shit happens. So who knows? But I know Mickey Mouse was coming out next year. So you can basically make like Mickey Mouse shirts as long as it doesn't look like Mickey Mouse from Disney. Think about that. They'll still try to claim trademark infringement or something, I'm sure. But Claudia Rojan back once again, and he says, also, I want to go a little more realistic with this, more back to basics. TMNT Shredder's first scene is him cutting off a man's head and not cooperating. Well, that sounds good to me, man. Make that shit gritty. I love it. Sounds good. And by the way, if you guys are YouTube members, feel free to dive in the chat right now. Get your questions, your comments in. I will read whatever you guys put on the screen. So if you guys are YouTube members, please chime in now. Shut Up Cat Production says, God, snappy. I don't know what you're talking about. I need context. All right, here it goes. Will H says, those are badass kicks, dog. You lucky you got little bitch feet, or else I'd be stomping around in those motherfuckers. Yeah, that's the line from Christian Bale in Harsh Times. You guys should go see that movie. And I'll just leave it here. I relate to Christian Bale's character in Harsh Times. I like his character quite a bit. Also, I like how he described himself as a soldier of the apocalypse. Great acting range on Bale's part in the movie. Absolutely. It's a great movie. Truly underrated. Go watch Harsh Times. I'm digging the shades. Yeah, these are my Nicolas Cage glasses. I love them. And it makes it makes everything look nice and orangey and warm. It's just easier on the eyes, so I don't get a headache looking at the computer screen or this bright fucking light right there. So yeah, it's a good time. Claudia Rogajon says, Russo Bros didn't direct Extraction. Sam Harg... Yeah, but they produced it and it looked like a Russo Bros movie, okay? They basically made it. It's like how the new Ninja Turtles movies weren't made by Michael Bay, but he produced it and said, make it look like one of my movies. But anyway. But yeah, I saw it as a knockoff John Wick, kind of like the movie Nobody. Pretty much. Shut Up Cat Production says, I mentioned at the con I'd send it to you, so I did. Well, I'm an old guy, man. I'm old. I can't remember every detail. I try to remember. But thank you. If you would have gave me some context of what the channel was, I would have remembered. Zepsy Cinema. How's it going, Zepsy? Here it goes. Hey there, Jimmy. Well, my name's Johnny, but we'll go with Jimmy. Have you seen Chinatown? Yes, I have. It is a great film. Also, do you hope more horror elements are in Batman 2? I'm eating orange chicken. Bye. Thanks. Enjoy that orange chicken. There's nothing better than orange chicken from Panda Express, which pretty much tastes like chicken covered in ketchup with an aftertaste of cardboard. I love it. And that's what most American Chinese food is. Do I hope the new Batman is a little bit horror driven? Yeah, sure. Why not? Yeah. Give a little element of horror to it. I mean, depending on who the villain is, I think that would open itself up. And the rumor is Clayface might be the villain or one of the villains. And I think you could have like a deranged dude who has body dysmorphia, where he's like always changing his face. And you could have like that dark, sinister scene where he's like, taking his nose off and putting a new one, something disgusting like that. But yeah, I'd be all for it. Imagine this shit. And when I think of like the horror vibe of what the Batman could be, I don't mean like Nightmare on Elm Street scary. I mean like Silence of the Lambs Buffalo Bill scary. Like something weird and dark and just twisted and seedy, but realistic. That's what I would like to see. Yes, did I just say I want my new Batman movie to be like Silence of the Lambs? Yeah. Yeah, I think that would be phenomenal, don't you? All right, here we go. DJ Run says, have you thought about having TikTok? I think it would be great. I have a TikTok. It's the Flick Pick. Check it out. Now, do I do much with my TikTok? No. I upload like one thing once a week, maybe. I don't really... TikTok to me is something I'm not that invested in. And I'm just not... I'm more of a long-form content guy. I really am. I would like to jump on TikTok and do more, but really it's not about substance on TikTok. It's just about, here are my top 10 movies. And you just name the 10 movies with no rhyme or reason of why. And that's what people on TikTok want. We all have attention deficit disorders on TikTok. So we just need content to fucking scroll on as we take a shit. That's what it feels like to me. So one day maybe I'll embrace it a little bit more, but right now it's just, I would rather focus on YouTube. I feel like that's the better platform for me, and it's the better platform to get substance out of your content. But I understand. I watch a lot of TikTok. I really do, but I always scroll and I never have that fulfilled feeling by the end of it. The next one comes from John. You remind me of Biff. Well, thanks. You remind me of Biff Tannen, the nice version. Laugh aloud. Also, what are your thoughts on Mila Kunis playing the Thing in the new Fantastic Four? Now, I think that's interesting if Mila Kunis played the Thing. I think the fact that having a female version of the Thing is actually one change up from a pre-established character I wouldn't hate. I think that's interesting. I imagine the psychological trauma of being a woman who now looks like this deformed rock figure. Imagine that. Coming to grips with that, I think, would be interesting. Now, my biggest holdup with Mila Kunis playing the Thing would be I'm going to just hear Meg Griffin when the Thing talks, which I think that in itself would be hard to take serious. Let me know. Let me know if you feel the same way. We got one here from Mickey C, who says, after seeing Guardians 3 and knowing you loved it, does your enthusiasm for Superman Legacy go up? It does. It gives me faith in James Gunn being able to handle more of a darker tone story, but also having the levity and the crowd-pleasing fan service of Superman flying around and beating shit up. And I think the way he handled Guardians 3 was a nice balance. It shows me he can do every different aspect of that. So yeah, it does. Actually, my enthusiasm does go up. Now, if you would have asked me, do I want James Gunn directing a Superman movie without this movie, and just the last movie him directing was Suicide Squad, I'd be like, ooh, I don't know. The Suicide Squad was kind of a mess, so I'm not quite sure. But now, I'm all for it. And also, yeah, he's great at introducing the comedic sensibilities. And also, he knows how to make like a cosmic movie. He knows how to handle like a different universe of sorts. So if he was going to throw Krypton in there, for example, that would be cool looking to me. I have faith in him as a director. So the next one comes from Skywalker, who says, if you're making a Batman movie, who is the villain? And are you going to play Batman / Bruce Wayne and give us your I'm Batman? Absolutely. Batman's going to say I'm Batman. Absolutely. If I made the movie, who would the villain be? I think there's still so much room for a great version of a live action Bane and something that we haven't quite seen yet. And I would like to push the fantastical element ever so slightly. Now, do I want Bane like Joel Schumacher gave us with a green bloated steroid freak? No. Who looks like his heart's about to explode? No, I would not have that. Would I make my Bane taller than 5'9" Tom Hardy like Nolan did? Yes, I probably would. So there's a fine line in between both those things. I think you could have a great portrayal of Bane. That's what I would do. And then I would pick another secondary character, of course, in there. I'm not quite sure who it would be. Maybe like... I was going to say like Red Hood, but no. I think Deathstroke was somebody I would like to see that we never got, that was teased a couple years ago. Maybe Deathstroke would be kind of cool. Deathstroke or Bane. I think Deathstroke just to have something that we haven't seen before. I like any villain who's a threat to Batman physically and mentally. I like when a foe can do both of those things. I think that's the ultimate villain that Batman can go up against and make you question, oh shit, can this guy actually defeat him? So that's what I would like to see. And with all that said, I'm Batman. Shut Up Cat Productions, once again, I think we can all agree John's monster kicked in. Let me tell you something about caffeine. I don't feel caffeine anymore. I could literally take a gallon of this and pour it into my eyeballs and I wouldn't even flinch. Okay, this is nothing to me. This is rainwater to me. Adrian Lamelli says, just watch Insidious. Very creepy thoughts. Oh, I love the first Insidious. That's how you make a supernatural horror flick. I love that shit. Great. Just Darth Maul popping up at the kitchen table in the background over there. Oh, that's scary shit. Now, we have a new Insidious movie coming out. Watch the trailer. I don't know. I'll check it out, but It just doesn't look like it's going to be anywhere as good as the first one. So, the next one comes from Shut Up Cow Productions. Again, my friend's channel is sketch comedy, which I'm in. Okay, that's what it is. I'll check it out, man. I'll click the link. And thank you for sending it to me. All right, I'm going to answer just a few more questions, guys, and then I'm going to wrap up this live show. So here it goes. Claudia Rogajan. For the 1000th time, Deathstroke is not a Batman villain. Just because he was a boss battle in the Arkham games doesn't mean jack. So what you're saying is he's technically a Batman villain. Deathstroke doesn't need to be the main villain, but he can be one of the villains. And I think he's a great villain for Batman. So I'm going to make him a Batman villain. Some of the Batman villains are just deranged sociopaths, and there's only so much you can do with that. Okay? So I would like a little bit more. So I'm going to make Deathstroke a Batman villain. He's my Batman villain. Damn it, I stand by it. So, and by the way, in about 14 minutes, it's my girlfriend's birthday. So everyone wish Nikki a happy birthday. If you want to. It's up to you. You don't have to, but... all right, the next one comes from... Leaving early like a coward, John? No. I stood my ground like a warrior of the night. I was only going to do this for an hour, and now we're going on almost 2 hours. So, I put the time in tonight. Hey, most other people on YouTube are giving you a 5-minute jump cut video. I give you 2 hours. Unedited, raw, visceral fucking entertainment. No edits, no cuts. I keep it real with you. I'm not pandering to the studios or just saying the bullshit that society has deemed okay. No. I'm giving you real stuff. Okay? So I've given you 2 hours tonight. I've given you everything. Not yet. Not everything. All right, Mickey C says, I'd love to see Christopher McQuarrie, Mission Impossible Fallout, handle Suicide Squad film. I still think there's potential. Oh, yeah, you know what? I forgot all about him. And also James Mangold. I think those would be two good directors for like a Batman movie or something. But I could see Christopher McQuarrie directing a Suicide Squad movie. Sure, yeah. I mean, Mission Impossible Fallout, the way the action looks in that doesn't look like green screen action. It looks real. It feels real. So, not a bad choice on that one. MKF30 says, yeah, there you go, guys. Thanks for the birthday wishes. MKF30 says, John, would you like a Terminator versus Predator crossover movie? I don't think that'll ever happen. First of all, the last Terminator movie we got sucked ass. And then the last Predator movie that we got sucked balls. So with all those things said, I don't, the fact that they can't make their own movies good, now imagine how bad of a culmination that would be. So no, I don't think I would like to see that. I remember the rumors for a long time was a RoboCop Terminator movie. When I was growing up, that was like the rumors going around. John, have you seen End of Days? I have a few times, and I don't like it. There was a weird kind of fascination with devil movies in the late 1990s. You had like End of Days, then you had the Devil's Advocate. There was like, and then you had like Constantine in 2004 or 5. It was like weird devil, like there's something going on. There was like a trend going around in Hollywood for a minute there. Everything had to be like a religious movie with like the devil. So End of Days was not a very good movie. I wasn't a big fan. Jay Flick says, happy birthday, Nikki. Well, thanks for that. I'll let her know. Prey was great. It was okay. Prey was okay. Prey could have been better if it had characters that I gave a shit about besides the Predator. Then I would have cared about watching the survival of the characters and them doing things. All right. Shut Up Cat Production says, hold your tongue and say I live on a pirate ship. Oh, hi. There you go, man. Claudia Rojan is back here with arguing about Deathstroke, so here it goes. He was one of the assassins hired by the Joker to kill Batman in Arkham Origins, and he's the first boss battle, and he's a pushover. Well, damn it, in my movie, he wouldn't be a pushover. He'd be the ultimate assassin of all time that goes toe-to-toe with Batman in the finale of the movie. That's who he would be. Actually, he'd be a hired gun, and by the end of the battle, he sees himself in Batman, and they come to an agreement. How's that? That would be his arc. Stigmata had the same set like End of Days. Yeah, Stigmata is another one of those. There was something weird in Hollywood where they said, okay, that's the next big thing. Like, we always go through those trends in Hollywood. RoboCop was garbage. RoboCop? The first one? No. RoboCop, the first movie, is phenomenal. The political commentary, the satire on society. I'd buy that for $1. The undertones of humor that could never be replicated. No, the first RoboCop. Imagine being Murphy in RoboCop, a man doing his job, and then you're brought back to life, and now you're a machine. How do you cope with that? That's a question about the human element. Like, RoboCop's a phenomenal movie. Louis Berry says, we'll love to see Keanu Reeves as Deathstroke. Hey, Batman, I'm Deathstroke. You want to fight? Actually, that was Nicolas Cage. Sorry. I think it could be cool if Keanu opened himself up to be a little bit less Keanu-y. Sure. We got one here from Claudia Rojan once again. Here we go. Are we having a debate? If we were being honest, End of Days is probably Arnold's worst film. Yeah, it's pretty bad. That and Red Heat's pretty bad too, though. Anyway, yes, Batman and Robin is bad, but it's so bad it's funny. Sometimes End of Days is boring as heck, and he's terrible in it as well. Yeah, he is. It's a terrible, atrociously bad movie. It's really bad. What was the name of that Arnold movie from the early 2000s? The Sixth Day, where he has to clone himself, and he's a helicopter pilot. And at the end of the movie, the one guy's like half cloned and he's all like mutated looking. I think if he took something like The Sixth Day and put it in the 90s, it would have been a substantially better movie than it was. Anyway, you just unlocked a memory I forgot I had. Let's see. Here we go. No, John, I like End of Days. That's fine. All right, we got... I was going to make sure I didn't... Okay, this is the last question, guys. I'm going to wrap up the live show here. John, this comes from MKF30. John, thoughts on the 2017 Power Ranger movie and that movie and the movie Chronicle? I thought they were both a little underrated. Chronicle to me was like a one-time watch. I don't like found footage movies that much, so it takes a lot to get me to watch it again, and rarely do I ever. Chronicle is a fine one watch. The Power Rangers movie from 2017 was okay. I'm not the biggest Power Rangers fan. I think there was potential there. But at the same time, I think they could have pushed the limits more than they did in that Power Rangers movie. Like, if you're going to make a Power Rangers movie, just go for it. And it felt like they were trying to like ride this line. But I would be lying if by the climax of that movie from 2017, when the Power Rangers theme song kicked on, it gave me chills. So it was okay. But I get how that version or that interpretation, I get why they didn't make a sequel. And Mickey says, and I go say happy birthday to your girlfriend or my lady friend. That's what I'm trying to do. I got a couple minutes here. Louis Berry with one late question here says, Nicolas Cage as Bizarro in the DCU, please. What's the matter, Superman? I'm not smart enough or something? I've had a crazy day. And I just want a little kryptonite to pick me up. And then his version of Bizarro snorts kryptonite like it's cocaine. And that's how Superman can never defeat him. That would be a good Nicolas Cage interpretation. You know what? Yes, I want to see it. There you go. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap up the live show here. I do want to say, guys, thank you for hanging out, talking movies with me, talking life, looking at my stupid face for a couple of hours. But I got to go. I got to wish my girlfriend a happy birthday. So I want to say thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. And thanks for the questions. And it was nice to see your, I didn't get to see your faces, but I wish I could at some point. As always, stay safe. Have a good night. And I'll see you very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.